But what if I need it someday? But what if I need it someday, right? That is the number one question that holds everyone up. Hello, it's really good to see you today. I'm looking forward to spending a little time with you, talking through this question, why it is the completely wrong question to ask, and it hangs us up and we get stuck. But what is the right question to have to ask? I have it for you. This has been so helpful. And also, a quote from Fumio Sasaki from the book Goodbye Things. I've never shared this before. I don't know why. It is so good, and I think it's going to really shift how we look at stuff, with again the main point being so we can declutter faster, get our home simplified, enjoy the peaceful space, and not have to spend so much time and energy managing all of this junk around us, right? So, hey, it is really good to see you today. I like getting to spend this time with you live and get to answer questions and kind of go back and forth, hear your insights and your experiences, what's clicked with you and worked for you. I think different things click for all of us, and so it's like I'm just going to try and approach everything from every single angle, and then hopefully it'll resonate. Something does, right? But this question, for sure, by far, this question, but what if I need it someday? Well, keeping things for just in case. This is definitely what hangs us up, because many of us, we make a lot of quick progress in our house decluttering by getting rid of the easy stuff, the stuff we clearly don't need, broken things, used up things, worn out things we like just know we bought by mistake, or the kids brought into the house or whatnot. It was gifted to us or given to us, and there's just this layer of very obvious stuff, and it's great because you start to make progress and you feel kind of good about the things you're doing. But then we get to this next layer of the onion where these are perfectly good things. These are things you spent money on. These are things that maybe you could use in the future. So wouldn't that be silly to let go of perfectly good things, and then have to rebuy it in the future, or regret, feel shame because we got rid of it? So let's first talk about why this question, what if I need it someday, is unanswerable. Like, this is impossible. This is the worst question that we could ask ourselves. And that is because this question relies on predicting the future, which as humans, we're actually not very good at. And what this does, and why this is so harmful to our brains, is that trying to predict the future creates anticipatory anxiety. I actually kind of think all anxiety is anticipatory, right? It's like anticipating the worst, right? But anticipatory anxiety is what happens when our brains constantly scan for future problems to solve. Now, here's what's interesting though. It's often disguised as being prepared. So we think by keeping these things and having these things for just in case, and I might not do that in the future, but just in case I do, I'm going to still have this, and then I'm not going to look like a fool because I got rid of it. So it's often disguised as being prepared, but it can actually cause chronic stress and indecision. So if you've ever felt stressed out when you go to declutter, it is probably because of this. We are putting this pressure on ourselves to predict the future, and we're not good at it. And so I love this quote. So behavioral economists like Dan Gilbert and Daniel Kahneman have shown that we are terrible at effective forecasting, predicting how we'll feel or what we'll want in the future. And what he says is that we often assume future us will have the same priorities and needs and even free time as current us, and that's rarely true. And so what's been so interesting to me, and we've been talking about this a lot in our membership group lately, is that what is today? Today is June 24th. June is almost over. It's almost the 4th of July, and the 4th of July is kind of halfway through summer point, right? I mean, like, where did June go, right? And as we think back over the last several months, like to the beginning of the year or to last June, how fast has the time gone? And how much of the stuff in your house have you actually used, right? Like, if you actually thought about it, like, what percentage of the stuff in your house have you used over the last year? All right, so I want to share with you what I think is the better decluttering question to ask. But real quick, before we get into that, I do just want to fully acknowledge what holds us back. And what holds us back is that when when we keep everything we might need someday, what we're really doing is avoiding the possibility of making a mistake. So if we keep all the things or most the things, then we're trying to protect our future self from discomfort, right? So if I don't get rid of something that I could use in the future, then I don't have to experience the discomfort of, oh my goodness, I could have used that, right? So it's like this protective mechanism in our brain that's like, well, this is a simple math equation to solve. Don't get rid of it, then you can't accidentally have gotten rid of something you could use in the future, right? So our brain is trying to protect us, protect our resources that we've invested by saying, like, hold the phone, don't get rid of that just in case we could use it in the future. And so what we have to start to look at though is that, yes, I am responsible. Like, I am responsible if I make this decision and it goes wrong, right? So am I willing to take on that responsibility? But the flip side of that coin is that if this goes right, like if this goes real right and I get my house decluttered and simplified and everyone in my family benefits from it, my kids benefit, my spouse, my partner, anyone else that lives with me, they benefit from it too. Well, I also get to take the credit for that, right? Or at least I get to enjoy the benefits of all of that. So that's what's on the line, right? Yes, is there the possibility that I could make a mistake? I could feel that like yuck feeling of like, oh, shoot, I could have used that, right? But what I'm risking losing then are also like all these benefits and rewards that could come from getting my house fully simplified. And I think what's hard is that many of us have decluttered just enough to start to get a taste of that freedom and the peace that can come in our home, but we haven't gone far enough to fully build the trust in ourselves that, like, oh man, I will take that risk all day long. You know, I've lived as a minimalist for 10 years now, which is just so hard to believe. And when I look at all of the benefits that I have gotten to experience, especially having young kids and getting to raise them in a highly simplified house, I'm like, oh my goodness, I would never ever trade all of those benefits and that reward and all of the good stuff that has come with that for the risk I had to take for making a mistake. Like, that risk now feels so small and so minuscule. But when we're at the beginning of this journey and we haven't quite built that confidence up with ourselves, it actually does feel pretty big. And so decluttering really is an act of self trust. And it's saying that I trust that I can make a decision today and handle the consequences tomorrow, even if I get it wrong. And that keeping everything is fear based, but letting go is growth based. Because the truth is, like, yes, I might let go of something and later wish I hadn't, but I can also choose to learn, adapt, and move on. Like, that's the human experience, right? And the truth is that you've probably dealt with much harder things in your life than accidentally decluttering something, right? Now, real quick, a caveat to that. It's one thing for us to have like our own sense of guilt from it and kind of beat ourselves up a little bit of like, oh, darn, I could have used that. Like, we can sometimes be hard on ourselves, but I do know that some of us live with others who tend to be somewhat critical, and they're ready and willing and able to point out if we do something wrong. So it's the fear isn't always us beating up our own self. Often the fear is actually the criticism from others within our household. And so I just want to acknowledge that that is definitely a very real fear. And so I understand that. And it's very hard because it's one thing to try and manage our own discomfort of this and taking our own responsibility for it and saying, like, you know what, I'm going to have a growth mindset, not scarcity. I'm going to grow from it. If I make a mistake, I'm not going to beat myself up. I'll learn from it. That's one thing, right? But if I'm also trying to balance that and say, okay, so it's not only my own self beating myself up, but it's this other person or other people that are going to chime in as well. Here's what I want to tell you about that. They're just going to find something else to criticize you about. So I would still take the risk of this, take the risk of the criticism, because I just believe what I know about people like this is that even if it's not something you decluttered, and again, we're decluttering our own stuff. I'm not encouraging you to like go declutter their stuff, but your own stuff, the areas of your home that you are in charge of, they're just going to find something else to be critical about or complain about. And so I would rather be in a house that's decluttered and simplified and a little more peaceful to be in, even if there's going to be criticism, as opposed to being still in a fully cluttered house and still having a critical person there, right? I mean, I just feel like that is going to be a constant no matter what. So trying to not get rid of stuff and keep it in all that just to keep the peace, I don't think it's effective. Now, you know your circumstances and your situation, and I'm sorry if that is your reality because that sucks. Like that is just really difficult. Like decluttering is already hard enough, not to then complicate it with that and trying to manage their emotions and predict how they're going to react and all that. So I do want to acknowledge that, but also I would just encourage you to keep moving forward, because trying to keep them happy is probably a fool's errand. And this can be for people within your household, or if some of us have moms or sisters or extended relatives or friends or whatnot that kind of do the same thing when they come to visit our house. Nothing, you're not going to make them happy. They're just going to find something else to complain about. So anyways, all right. So I wanted to mention that caveat, but here is something that's, well, so let me, okay, let me skip ahead. Just want to get my slides in order here. Though along those same lines though, because we have this fear that we might mess up and we could need it someday. But this is the quote from Fumio Sasaki from the book Goodbye Things. I've never shared this before and I just came across it again and it was so powerful. And he says this: the things we really need will always find their way back to us. The things we really need will always find their way back to us. Isn't this such a freeing way to live? Instead of saying, I have to keep everything for every possible scenario in the future. Instead of that, being able to say, the things I need, it'll always find its way back to me. I think that is such a better way to live. And I think if we reflect back on our life, I think we can actually believe this. So your initial gut might be like, meh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe if you have infinite resources and you can just go buy something again, but I can't. No, that's not anything to do, nothing to do with the amount of money you have, right? And what I would encourage you to think about is think back to times in the past where you tried to stock up on things, whether it was a good sale or something was free or inexpensive at a garage sale. And we're like, oh, I mean, I did this all the time with kids' clothes and kids' shoes. And I'm like, these shoes are only a quarter. They're 3 sizes too big, but I can't pass them up. They're really good quality. And I'm going to be so glad that, my future self is going to be so happy that I have these in 3 years when the kids fit into them, right? And then what happens? We forget that we have them. It goes bad in storage. Somebody else could have been making use of it while it was rotting away. And so I just think back on all these times when I would try to stock up on things. School supplies were on sale after school already started. So I'd get them and save them for later in the year or next year. And then I would forget about them. All these times I tried to stock up on things. It never actually worked out, or I never actually came out ahead. No different than if I would have just bought the very specific needs or things that I needed at that time, or waited for it to come around again. Isn't it weird how we sometimes think if we see a good deal or sale or clearance or garage sale, we just think like, this is the only time this will ever be available, right? Like I'm never going to see a sale like this again or whatever. The truth is the sales cycle for most stores is 3 months. I think they're even shorter now, I believe, and there's going to be more garage sales, there's going to be more thrift stores, there's going to be more people giving stuff away. But isn't it funny how our brains are just like, no, this is the only time. So again, if we look back at our past experience, I'd be curious if this hasn't been what you've sensed and felt as well. And is this maybe a principle that, in our culture, it's so easy to get stuff. So we haven't had to live by it and we've forgotten about it. But as we begin to let go, again, we've been minimalist for 10 years now. This has 1000% been my experience. The things we really need will always find their way back to us. I cannot think of a time over the last 10 years where I lacked for anything after getting rid of 85% of our stuff. And it's not because I just went out and bought something again. It's because I got rid of it and I never actually need it again. So the question that I would propose that we ask ourselves, the decluttering question that we actually use is, do I need it today? Do I need it today? What if we set up our home and curated our possessions for what we need today? Because what I have found over the last 10 years is what I need today is what I need tomorrow, and it's what I need next week, right? We think again that, oh, I'm going to get to a season where I have this extra time to sew and cross stitch and crochet and do all these things, the art projects and the craft projects and all of this. I'm going to craft with the kids. If I'm not using it today, it's 80% likely that I'm not going to use it tomorrow. 80% of the stuff in our home goes unused. Now, again, when we're decluttering, we're going to keep the stuff we're using. We're going to keep the stuff that is making our lives easier. Minimalism is not a project in suffering, what Courtney Carver says. So we're going to keep the stuff that we are using, wearing, enjoying, the microwave, the decor that we're using right now, the clothes we're wearing right now that fit right now. We're going to keep that stuff. And so that's about maybe 10% of our things, right? So 10% plus 80%, right? That means 10% we can safely keep, 80% we're not using. That only actually leaves 10% of gray area in there, right? There is so much inventory that we can let go of with no consequence. That is 100% been my experience over the last 10 years. And so here's what I would ask you. If someone handed you, or if you went maybe to the gas station, they're like, hey, we have these new lottery tickets. I don't care if you gamble or not, right? We have these new lottery tickets that we're selling. 80% guaranteed that you are going to win. You walk into a casino, they're like, hey, we have this new way we're doing things, right? A new model for gambling. 80% chance that you're going to win. Oh my goodness. You would put all your money on it, right? Like you would take that bet all day long because the risk is so little compared to the benefit. And so I'm telling you, 80% of the stuff in your house you're not using. When we go item by item and we're holding it up, we're like, I don't know, what if I need it someday? It doesn't feel like it's that certain, right? It doesn't feel like, oh, 80% chance I'm not going to use it, right? Because our brain is very resourceful. Our brain is creative. It's like, but we could use it there. We could, oh, this person might want to borrow it from us. What if my kids need it someday? This, that, right? Our brain is thinking of all of these reasons how we could use it. It's not thinking, dude, 80% likelihood you are never, ever going to use that again. And so that's why this question that might seem a little absurd right now, do I need it today, is so effective because we are creatures of habit and we use the same things over and over and over again. And so this is the decluttering question that I think we should use. I saw this quote too, and I thought it was so good. It said, if you are alive, but you are thinking about the past or the future, you are not truly living. If you're alive, but you're thinking about the past or the future, you are not truly living. And I think we spend so much time thinking about the future and we're looking at all of our stuff through the lens of the future. But what is the reality? We're only guaranteed today. Like we have today. And it is so enjoyable to curate your home and to live with just the things that you need for today. I cannot tell you how wonderful that is. Do we keep like a little bit of storage for future stuff that we know for sure we're going to keep? Like, do we have winter gear, saved for the winter? Yes. Life jackets for the summer, a little bit of decor and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I know, like I've looked at the data, the past history, we use that stuff, right? So do we have a little bit of storage? Yes. But otherwise, we're just living with the stuff that we need just for today. And it is so freeing. And it feels like when you get your house simplified and decluttered to that point, it feels like this is how we're supposed to live. We're all, thinking about like, how can I be present? How can I be content? And I shared this before, but I saw a definition of joy and it said, not wanting anything. Like being able to say right here today, I have my needs met. I have all the things I need for today, and I am not wanting for anything else around me. And while it is important to think about the future sometimes, I'm not spending so much time thinking about that and worrying about that and trying to anticipate that because again, that starts to create anxiety, so much fear and concern over the future. But also too, sometimes we get caught spending too much time in the past. My mom and I have been talking about this a lot recently. Her mom passed away at the beginning of April. And, so it just brings up all these things and going through her apartment and everything and just looking at all the things and all the memories. And there are important things from the past. Absolutely. It's important to know where we came from and to honor the people that came before us and to remember some of these really special people in happy times. But most of us are keeping way too much inventory for that. We're not meant to live life looking backwards and not necessarily even looking too far forward either, right? until we can master enjoying today and being present today and appreciating what we have today, I don't think we should be looking any other direction too much, right? And so I love, Matt Paxton from Hoarders. He has the book "Keep the Memories, Lose the Stuff," and he talks about the legacy list. How many items are on the legacy list? 5. Picking 5 items to remember a loved one by. For yourself, thinking of the 5 items that you would want to pass on to your loved ones. And again, on one hand, you could be like, oh, that's too limiting. How could I only keep that many things to remember this person that was so special in my life? Well, when it's more than that, doesn't it feel overwhelming? Doesn't that become kind of anxiety inducing to try and manage all of this stuff? And so when we really take a step back and stop saying, I should do this and this what is expected of to me, I think this actually, again, I think this feels right, that we're not supposed to manage so much stuff from the past, and we're not supposed to worry so much about the future and what stuff we need to keep for that. And that if we would use this question and rely on it, do I need it today? That we are going to find so much freedom. And I think what happens too, if we will use this, and again, I really feel like this is the point that we have gotten to ourselves of just keeping the stuff that we're using for today. I think it has a way of recalibrating us and also reminding us how creative we are. Again, we've gotten rid of 85% of our physical items. And I can think of very few inconveniences that this caused because we're creative, we're resourceful. There's times where I say, like, oh, I could have used that thing I used to have, but I just won't. I don't care. It's better not to have to manage it than to use it for this one time once a year. I can borrow things from neighbors. I can use, I've said before, like we go camping and I'm like, oh, I don't have a big bowl for watermelon. So I just used our big pot, from the stove, and it worked just fine, right? Like we're very resourceful, but we haven't had to be. And so again, this fear creeps in of like, oh no, I'm going to make a mistake and I'm not going to be able to survive it. Right. So no, you're able to, right? We're adults. We can take the responsibility of like, yes, decluttering does involve risk. But again, I believe that risk is so small compared to the payoff that we can get from it. All right. So, this is a good question. Do you think having strong, healthy relationships makes it easier to live more in the moment of life? Well, absolutely. And because I do think we're meant to, again, not manage everything and have to have everything for ourselves, but to communally have everything we need to run a household, right? I love one of my aunts has like a bunch of folding tables and folding chairs for events. And she's always like, if you ever need to put on an event, like please come borrow ours, right? Or another one has extra crock pots for serving or roasters or whatever, right? And so it's kind of like collectively, if anyone is putting on an event, then everyone brings like their piece of it together, right? And so, yes, I believe if we don't have strong relationships and around us, then we don't necessarily feel like we can draw on the community around us. And we probably don't feel as supported emotionally, right? Like, again, if I'm going to step out and I'm going to take this risk, like are there others around me who are going to be like, yeah, it happens? Or they're going to be like, no, you're the worst ever. Like, I can't believe you did that. Right. So yeah, I think it's multifaceted, but yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Yeah, I would love to take your question too. So if you put a question mark in front of it, it definitely makes it easier for me to see. I'd love to learn how to simplify with a toddler and baby. I have 7 kids and some are teens. Help. Yeah, I love the book Simplicity Parenting by Kim John Payne, but I really try not to get too ranty about toys. I did a video recently about simplifying kid stuff and kids' toys, a YouTube video probably about 6 weeks ago. If you want to go back and reference that too. But here's what I'll say. Kids thrive in highly simplified spaces. Kids do not even need toys. There's been studies done around this. They removed all the toys, even books. I know some of you books. Removed all the toys and books. The kids were more creative. They played longer. They played better together. They had better social skills. They felt more confident in their decision making. They were smarter. I mean, everything that you would want for your child, they all benefited from having fewer toys and fewer possessions around them to manage. And especially if you have kids that are at all neurodivergent, OCD, ADD, ADHD, autistic. Now, more research coming out now too about how they thrive in highly simplified spaces. I mean, think about for yourself. We all get overwhelmed when there's clutter around us. Like we can't that I mean, that's scientifically proven, right? Releases stress hormones. So think about our own stress responses to it. And now think about kids and their growing brains and all the things their brains are trying to learn and develop and do right now. They're even more sensitive to clutter than us, but they don't know how to express it. So how does it come out? Being crabby, irritable, not playing well, wanting you to solve their boredom problem, fighting with their siblings. I'm not saying my kids don't ever fight, but my goodness, they could occupy themselves for hours at a time. I mean, they still can, but when they were little, they could occupy themselves for 2 and 3 hours at a time and play together. And so I'm trying to like hold myself back now. I'm like, okay, we can move on to the next question. Box up all the toys, just do an experiment, just box everything up. And I don't think you'll bring hardly any of it back out again. And again, we can just pose this as an experiment with our families. This is great to do in kitchens, kids' toys, clothing, to just try out like highly reduced inventory. Oh yeah, see PTSD and PTSD too. Yes, yes. Hannah says, got a new expensive sheet and having a hard time getting rid of the old ripped one. Also expensive. What if I want to patch it? What if I need a backup? I'm attached. OMG. Let it go, Hannah. Like, do you have time to be patching sheets? Like, oh my goodness. So with things like this, like if it's something that's like a project or needs to be done, give yourself a deadline. Okay, if I'm going to do that, it has to be done by Sunday at 7 o'clock p.m. Pull it out, commit to doing it, and then let yourself off the hook if you don't get to it. I mean, we might decide to keep one thing like this, you know. I mean, I wouldn't now because I have the confidence that I wouldn't need it. But again, are you using it today? Like, can you think of a use for it today? And if not, I just don't think that's the type of inventory that we need to be spending our time managing. You know, again, if I really challenged you to look around your house, your whole house, your living spaces, your bedrooms, your attic, garage, basement, how much of that stuff are you going to use today? Like actually use and touch. How much have you used in the last week? How much have you used in the last year? I just almost guarantee you, unless you have highly decluttered, there's even no way it's over 10%. No way. Look at all of this extra stuff we are managing and organizing and remembering that we have and forgetting we have and then feeling bad about it, spending our weekends trying to organize it. I mean, what if 4th of July weekend coming up, there was no even discussion about, well, should I stay home and organize the garage, or should I stay home and clean my kids' room, or do this, or should I just go out and enjoy the time with friends and family? Like, just not even you didn't even have to think about it. Or maybe you don't even want to go out. Maybe you're like, I just want to sit home and read a book and drink iced coffee. Like, what if it was just like an absolute non-decision for you? And so again, I think it's hard because until you have experienced all the benefits of it, it feels very costly. And it's like, but this risk, Dawn, like it's a real risk. Like it's big. It's real. It is real. But I think it is much smaller than we have built it up to be. All right. If you have any other questions, if you want to go ahead and put it into the comments, I do enjoy getting, and it can be about anything, like anything, decluttering, life, I don't know, anything like that too. So yeah, Patty says, my husband has trains, guns, clocks, Carhartt stuff, and boots all over the place. I hate it. Yeah, that's a lot, Patty. And so I would say, something I learned from Joshua Becker was to say, like, to find common areas that you can agree on. So maybe like the kitchen is your domain. And so you can tell them, like, hey, because I do the bulk of the cooking and that, could we agree that I can take control in here and how much we keep and get it highly simplified. And then maybe could we agree that the living spaces, like I'm learning there's a connection between clutter and stress, especially for women, it's even stronger. Like I'd really like to just have fewer things in here. You can keep your stuff in these areas. Like I'm going to give you free reign on that. But in this common space, could we find some common ground on that? And it's usually a process and it usually takes a little time, but I would keep working at it because that is very, very stressful. Is it 1 million degrees where you are? So in Minnesota, we just came out of like, it's just a hot, muggy, so humid stretch. It was upper 90s and like upper 90s% humidity too. It was like 4 days and we were all just like, oh, we're not going to make it. Now we're back down to, I think it's only gonna be in the upper 70s today, like hardly any humidity. It's beautiful. We're like opening the windows and like going for walks and all of that. But man, that was a rough 4 days, let me tell you. Pet toys, beds, how much, etc. So what's been so fun, my assistant Jackie, who is just like the coolest ever. She's helped me for 5 years now, and I just adore her. And she'll talk about how she has a couple cats and how they get like over their toys. Like they'll play with them for a little bit and then they just like totally lose interest. So she's like, I acquire like all these toys and different things. And she's like, it's just like kids. They're not playing with them anymore. Do you need it today? Do you need it today? Again, can I tell you how much freedom there is in only having to manage and worry about the things that we need for today, to creating a home where you're just only keeping the things that you're using today or for this week? It is so cool. And it's like for every category. So absolutely for pet toys, beds, all of that. If they are using it today, making use of it, yes, but don't keep the spares and the extras and the things that they've lost interest in. How do you like your new little house? I love it so much. Yeah, and even that, it's kind of this idea of curating, like giving ourselves permission to curate the space we want around us and to have the things in it that we want to have and enjoy, not having things just because we feel like we should or we have to. And so I feel like it's a complete blank slate that I get to very intentionally curate, right? And I did this a little bit in our last house, but that was a little more mishmash of like bringing stuff in from previous homes and all this stuff, where I feel like this is like my own space that I just get to like do like just with the things I want and love, and it is so fun. But it has given me this fresh perspective again of like, we can do this. Like, we're adults. It's our house. Like, we can curate it and have it be exactly how we want it to be. And I'm not talking about going out and buying brand new stuff or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, if you like hate those throw pillows, get rid of them. That coffee mug is awkward, whatever, but somebody made it for you. Who cares? Let it go, right? You've never really liked that picture on the wall, but you just kind of hung it there. Get rid of it, right? Like, why would we be surrounded? Like, again, this one life that we've been given, like, why would we surround ourselves with junk, physical items that don't matter, dead stuff around us, right? Just because we're like, oh, we feel kind of guilty. Like, no way. Photo storage solutions, go all digital or make a couple physical memory albums. I hate scanning photos. So I'm more of the mindset of things that are physical, I keep physical, things that are digital, I keep digital. And just really ruthlessly paring down the physical ones and then either putting them into albums or into photo boxes. I would save that as the very last thing that you do. Get your house decluttered first, because you're going to take what you learn through decluttering your home and you're going to apply that to photos. And so I would recommend that being one of the very last things that you do. How do you manage your YouTube recording time? I'm a new YouTuber at 60 and I'm still learning how to manage that. Oh, Catherine. Yeah. Ugh. I don't know. Everyone's like batch and do this. And I'm like, I've been trying a little bit. I've been fortunate to, get to go to rentals in different places to record. But I think what's hard about it is that when I go to record, like, I have to be in the right mindset. Like, there's some days where I'm like, there's no way I can like do that today. And so some days I would be like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this and record that. And then, it's like you had a bad night's sleep or the kids were up or different things, or you find out something in the morning, you're like, ugh, and it mentally like kind of derails you. And so don't get me wrong, there's times where I can just be like, all right, game on. I'm putting that all aside. Like, I love talking about this. We're going to do this. But there are times too where I'm like, I can't force myself. It takes all the fun out of it. So it's a dance. And I think we're all a little bit different, but understanding that it takes a lot of emotional energy and bandwidth. Like, yeah, maybe it only takes like an hour and a half to record a video, but the thought work that goes into it, setup, like preparing for it and all of that, it's a lot of like emotional energy. I'll feel a lot of times, even after this, I'm going to feel drained. Like, I'm already planning on like going for a walk and getting a nice coffee and just letting my brain like totally decompress, because like I love this and it energizes me, but it also drains me too, right? So I think acknowledging how much emotional energy and bandwidth go into it, it might think like, oh, I should only need a couple hours a week to record a video. No, it's actually time-wise maybe, but there's a lot of emotional energy energy that goes into it. And that's actually it's something we've been talking about in our membership group too, because I think especially as women, we get really hard on ourselves about, well, I should be this far in my house and I should have got more decluttering stuff done. Decluttering takes a ton of emotional energy and bandwidth. And so if you have other big things pulling on you right now, that's really hard. And so in our membership too, I'm not turning this into a commercial. I'm not selling anything today or anything. I just wanted to spend time with you and impress this on you. Like, are you using it today? Right. But we're doing like foundations first. And so this idea that we have these like 5 core habits, and I mean, I'll tell you what they are. They are: clear your kitchen counters, create a simple uniform, do the dishes daily, have a very simple command center. Do not go on Pinterest and try and replicate that. Like we have like 2 bins to our command center, right? And clear your master bedroom floors. So we have these 5 foundational habits that we want to get these in place and do this and really get this running in the background on autopilot. It takes extra bandwidth and energy in the beginning to get these things in place, but get those running on autopilot and in the background. And I picked those 5 because they're the biggest bang for your buck. If we were only going to, spend a little time each day on something, I believe these 5 activities. And I think there's something that when life gets lifey, and again, our energy is just going all these different places, that if we will keep these going, our house is still going to feel put together. And so on really lifey life weeks, we're like, just do these 5 things. Don't worry about decluttering. Don't worry about extra stuff. If you're doing these 5 things, your house is going to feel good. You're going to feel good. Your family's going to still notice a difference. And then when we can add decluttering on top of it, oh man, watch out. Like that is where the magic is going to happen. And so recognizing that it's not so much about managing our time. Most of us, we're busy, but we have enough time to do the things that are really more important to us. It's about managing our emotional bandwidth. And I hope Jackie won't mind me using this example again. We were just talking about this yesterday because she was on a board for something and she was just like, I've been trying to get off for the last 2 years because she's like, it doesn't take a lot of time, but she's like, the mental like capacity that it takes it's just too much. Like it's always nagging at me and it's always there. And I always feel like other people are wanting it. And so she's like, if I looked at it at just the amount of time in my week, it would feel like it's not that significant, but it's just like too much. It is the straw that breaks the camel's back right now. And so again, if we can look at the things on your plate right now that you're juggling in terms of how much energy are they draining from you, then I do think that also helps us to keep our decluttering in perspective. We know getting our house decluttered is just going to revolutionize our lives. And also life gets lifey. And some days and weeks we can draw from our emotional bandwidth to get a lot of decluttering done. And other times we just can't. And that's okay. Keep your counters clear, do the dishes every day, simplify your uniform. That like gives your clothing to a uniform. That gives your brain like such a break. But have a few things that are just your go-tos that you do no matter what. And then as we get to do the other stuff, awesome. But don't be too hard on yourself about this. It's hard and it takes time and it takes energy. Books and toys from the 1970s and earlier. Why does it feel like I'm erasing history when I let the old things go? Newer items are easier to let go. How to shift mindset? Yeah, Lisa, I think that's a great question because, well, I mean, many of us were raised to believe that old things are super valuable. Doesn't really matter what they are, who's it, what whatever. That anything old is valuable and it's unique and it's special, and we have to archive it and save it and preserve it and protect it and show it to people and tell the stories and all. And we can, if that's important to you and that's how you want to spend your life. And you're just like, I just love these things. I love telling the stories of them. I love sharing them with other people. That's awesome. Do that. But if not, again, this idea of, do we want to be an archivist of toys from the, previous decades? I don't know. I don't. And if you don't, permission to let them go. Are you using them today? No. And again, when I say that, are you using that today? Even sentimental stuff we can be using in the sense of jogging happy memories of people and times that we really liked. But if you look at that and you are not feeling like joy, happiness, kind of the Marie Kondo idea, like, does it spark joy? I don't always love that question. But in this case, like, does it feel like a burden or does it feel like something you really like joyfully take care of and care for? If not, permission to let it go. Absolutely. But I do understand how we come by those mindsets. Yeah, same thing. Vintage items that may have monetary value. There's a lot of good resources out there now for finding out and estimating the value of things. I like, if at all possible, there's people you can just bring it to and they will, from like estate people and stuff, let them do the legwork and value it for you. But again, a lot of this stuff we think it has value and it doesn't. Like it just absolutely does not. So I don't know. Again, is that how you want to spend your time and energy? Are you going on any summer vacations? We don't have anything planned right now. We love summer in Minnesota. Just like being home, being outside. The kids and I have been doing a lot of like working on the landscaping and stuff at my parents, which is just, I love that stuff. I could do that all day long. We painted like my mom's front doors and just like pressure washing the porch and helping her with her flowers and stuff, which mom, I know I owe her more help with her flowers. Yeah. So, um, but so we actually like really love being around home this time of year. It's usually more in winter when we're anxious to get away. Yeah, Christine says, "No, living with someone else who might be critical, surely not." Yeah, Christine, I'm sorry. Just like that sucks. Like it really does. I just want to validate that. It is what it is, but yeah, man, that sucks. So, congratulations on working on your master's. I love hearing about marketing economics and the connection to minimalism. Please keep us updated. And if you have any insights, yeah, no, thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm just in the final stretch of my master's in general psychology right now. I have to have everything in by June 30th. And I'm actually feeling pretty good about it. So it's been, I can't remember where I was talking. I think it was inside our membership group. I decided to start it last October because I was looking ahead at the winter ahead and just like, oh, like, what am I going to do with my spare time? So I started it then. And it's funny because this probably doesn't surprise you, but it started out pretty easy. And I'm like, I've got this. This is getting your master's. Okay. Right. And then it got a little harder over the winter. And this last term has been kicking my butt. Oh my goodness. But it's like in a good way. Right. And actually, I was listening to a podcast with Jay Shetty, and he was actually he was giving a tip, and his podcast is On Purpose. It's called On Purpose, but he was saying like if you want to build your self-confidence, do something hard. And I think for many of us, that hard thing can be decluttering our house because yeah, there's risk and we could make mistakes. I could not believe how my confidence skyrocketed through decluttering our house. And I saw that. So that kind of led to me believing like, oh, maybe I could have a YouTube channel. Maybe people would want to watch me. I never thought this many people would want to watch me. Oh, good night. I still have to sometimes like not even think about it, right? Or just get like stressed out about it, like say the right things. But like, so I've seen my confidence grow over the years to the point where I'm like, yeah, I could do a master's degree in this and go back to school and all of that. And so anyways, doing hard things definitely does build our confidence. And I think starting with decluttering your house can be such a great launch pad for all the other things that you've wanted to do and hope to do. Cute top. Where's it from? I got it at a little boutique. We were just bumming around and I don't know what the brand is. It's actually like hemp material. I think it's like all organic and all that, which I didn't really care. I just thought it was cute. But I really like it and it's really light. So I don't know. I'll see if I can find a link for it. But thank you. If I wish it was an Amazon link, then I would just put it here or whatever. So let's see. Let's see. Not a question. I just wanted to say thank you for your group. Joined about a month ago and look forward to hearing you every morning. Nothing better than hearing positive things first thing. Well, thank you, Trisha. I really greatly appreciate that. I love our membership group so much. I mean, we go live in there, well, every Saturday morning and then every other Friday. And then I do daily videos. And so because I do think, like I said, this is hard. Like this decluttering journey is it's not always easy, right? And so there's something about just having like a group of women that you're just doing it together with. My goodness, it makes all the difference in the world. So thank you though. I really sincerely appreciate that a lot. I get frozen facing the clutter at times, like the garage or basement. I just wonder how to not get super stressed in the process. So much to do. I love your channel. Thank you, Susie. Okay, so again, see, I'm trying not to keep being like, well, in our membership group, but it's we do so much together in there. It's just always top of mind. So we've been doing storage wars this past month. And here's what I will tell you, something that we've been talking about so much. The reason you are feeling overwhelmed by your storage space is because it is random. It is a mishmash of stuff. There are not clear categories. Our brain hates random. Our brain is not good at random. Our brain is constantly trying to categorize things. Like, seriously, when you look around a room, it's like that's furniture, that's decor, that's books, that's food, that's appliances. Like, it wants to just put things in their category. Now I feel safe. I know what everything is in here. I know if I need something where it is. Now I can go about my day, right? When we look at a space like a storage room, a storage garage, attic, whatever, there's no clear categories. Our brain's like, oh, there's that. There's the camping stuff. There's the lawn stuff. There's that stuff, that, blah. And we're just like, it's too much. And so two things that have been really helpful. One, we always say start with the floor first. Stuff on the floor is very unsettling to our brain. We need some space to work and move. We need to make some quick progress. So start with the floor. It doesn't even mean you're like decluttering things. Get stuff up off the floor, pushed back together, consolidated, tidied up a little bit. And now you're going to feel like, okay, I have my bearings a little bit in this space. That also kind of refamiliarizes me with some of the stuff. And what's happening while you're doing that is your brain is trying to decide the categories that are in here. Your brain is trying to categorize while you're just like picking up junk off the floor, right? But it's rolling around the back of your mind of like, okay, what are the categories in here? So floor first, and then the second thing is to categorize. So we're not making any hard decluttering decisions, like Dana will say in her steps, like no hard decisions have been made yet. We're just looking around like, okay, what are the categories? And then we're just going to start sorting stuff into categories. Now, if your space is really full, this can be a little tricky because you don't have a lot of room to move. So you might have to look for some obvious wins and stuff just to get out or donate or that needs to leave the space. But as you're able, just start categorizing. All of the winter gear goes here. All of the lawn stuff goes here. All of the camping stuff goes here. All of the kitchen overflow goes here. All the stuff from my kids moving back in 2 years ago go here, right? All my husband's collection of this stuff goes here. And we're just categorizing. We're just putting it into the categories. I really like to take like a piece of paper and make signs because that way if you get pulled away from it and you come back to work again, your brain doesn't have to like, what was that category? What's over here? No, that's the Christmas decor. Okay, everything holiday decor goes over there, right? And so we just work on categorizing. And what's going to happen through this? You're going to find obvious donations. You're going to be like, oh, this is a part to the vacuum cleaner I don't even have anymore. You're going to throw some stuff away. So through that process, you're also going to be debulking, refamiliarizing yourself. Now you have a good idea. You have your categories. And then we just go back to each category individually. But now when I can see all of the shovels and rakes and that stuff together, well, now I'm like, well, I'm going to get rid of the broken ones. I'm going to get rid of the one with the wonky handle that I don't really like using. I'm going to keep the best ones and let the other ones go. They're all here together. And so I can make that decision instead of what we often do. And we go in and we like hold up a rake and we're like, well, should I get rid of it? Well, I don't know. Do we use this one? Not because we don't have them all together. So floor first and then categorize. And then from there, start to make your decluttering decisions. All right. I have 4 children, age 13 to 2 years. How can I get out of the mindset that my 2-year-old isn't old enough yet for many of the toys activities I have saved? How did you manage this with your kids? Good question, Jessica. I would use the container concept and I would say I'm just going to keep one Rubbermaid tote of super special toys or the toys my other older kids really liked for them. Because here's what you're going to find. Your 2-year-old, they're still going to get Christmas and birthday gifts, and our kids don't even need toys, right? So you don't need to keep like hardly anything from one to the next to the next. Like we would always keep, and what we still have are Duplos, Legos, and building blocks and magnet tiles. So those wonderful open-ended things that everyone plays with and likes to build with that foster creativity, we would keep those types of things, but all the rest of the stuff, no way. Toys are the easiest thing on the planet to come by. But again, even your 2-year-old is still going to keep getting new ones consistently throughout the year. So I would try to keep as little as possible. How do you decide on what to get rid of for declutter with fabric or quilting? That is a big one for me since fabric is very expensive and I might use it in the future, which is true for most of us. Yeah, absolutely. So what's tough about that though is, and I was just talking to my friend Marilyn about this. She's a quilter, beautiful quilts. We we think we kind of like it all equally when we look at our fabric stashes or whatever, but I would encourage you to use the container concept. Set limits for how much you can keep. And this is another strategy that's a little further along in our like storage space that we were talking about here. But create some kind of container and say like, okay, I'm only going to keep as much fabric as fits in these 2 bins or 3 bins, whatever is reasonable for what you have. And what this does is this forces your brain to say, is this so special that I'm going to take up room in my limited space here? And from the outside, you're going to be like, oh, but that's limiting. And I love fabric so much and some of them are expensive. I'm telling you, if you will just try it, your brain is probably going to be more cooperative than you think. Your brain loves categories and things containerized within boundaries, right? So your brain's going to be like, I love this game because I want to get it organized. And it's say like, okay, do I like this enough to take up space? And this fabric, I don't actually like it that much, right? But these ones, yes, I could see making a quilt or something out of these. And so you have to try it. From the outside, you're like, I don't know. You just have to try it and get into it. And I really believe that it's really going to help you make what feels right now like hard decisions. Yeah. How do you decide what to keep when you're in a transitional phase of life? Well, if you didn't use it last year, I don't think you're going to use it next year. I mean, again, we're always like, oh, but I could use it in the next house or the next space. Or what if, I'm downsizing, but I might want this because it's smaller than this. It's again, it's a fool's errand. It's this anxiety of trying to predict the future. The stuff you use and love every day, keep that. And then allow for some just life to unfold how it's going to unfold. Again, this quote from Fumio Sasaki, the things we really need will always find their way back to us. So, Cindy, I would say keep the stuff you use and love all of the time. Definitely keep that. And then I think if you'd be willing to let the other stuff go, you're just going to feel a sense of freedom going into what the next season is, no matter what it looks like. I don't think we're meant to manage all of this stuff. It's too much. And our brain is not good at it. Our brain hates managing inventory. Ugh, no. Our brain's meant for survival and like problem solving, not managing inventory. Do you sometimes use decluttering as an excuse to get out of other tasks or doing exercises and etc.? Because that is what I do sometimes. It's been a while since I've really done a lot of extensive decluttering. So I don't know about that, but I do find, and again, this is backed up by brain research too, that there is like I do think decluttering can get a little addictive, and I know others will say that. We talk about like our decluttering success path. It's like hard work, messy middle, hard decisions, and then you get on the other side and you're just like the Frozen song, right? Let it go, because you're just like, don't hold me back anymore, right? Like, because you're experiencing the freedom and like the benefits of it, and the reason I think it does become addictive is because psychologically bringing our physical environment into order brings our internal environment into order too. And so decluttering, you get to a point where it really does start to feel good, and tidying up your spaces around you. Like it is just like your whole body just like sighs, like, okay, things are in order. But again, we don't really get to that point till we really get highly simplified, because it feels hard when we have a lot of stuff around us, keeping the house tidy and picked up. And it feels better when we pick up, but we don't fully get that sense of relief because it's pretty seldom that everything is picked up and in order. But when you can get your house decluttered to a point that tidying, it just feels like an act of like self-care. And if you're feeling at all stressed or anxious, like you just kind of know, like the antidote antidote is to tidy up. And that as you physically bring your environment into order, it helps like you feel the stress and the anxiety like melt away, and you're like, okay, life might be a little lifey right now, but I can handle it. We can get through this. Okay, I'm starting to think of maybe some solutions for this problem that I'm facing right now. And so I do think it starts to feel a little bit of addictive. And I notice that for myself now. If I'm just kind of like feeling a little amped up, a little off, a little like, ugh, like just unsettled, right? I'll be like, okay, I think I need to just tidy up and straighten up a little bit. And then I start to feel better. Even more so, I love walking. I walk every day, and I definitely, I used to just be like, I just need to go for a walk, right? And I do sometimes, but now I'll even feel more like tidying is even more effective than going for a walk. So I don't even remember what the question was, but if you're using it to get out of other things, then I don't think it's a bad trade-off. So that's awesome. Where do you announce your next live sessions? I don't know. Someday I might have a schedule with it and let you know. I don't announce them anywhere right now. I'm just like, surprise, I'm live. So, oh, maybe one of these days. Inside of our membership group, we have it all like laid out at a time, but I'm a little more fly by the seat of my pants here. Sad question. I'm considering leaving my marriage. How did you know what to take when you moved out? Yeah, that is a sad question for sure. Um, I was so grateful that I'd highly simplified it because at that point, I was just like, stuff doesn't matter. Memory bins and stuff are great. And I'm glad for some of that stuff. And I was glad it was like containerized and like I didn't have to try and work through a bunch of sentimental stuff or anything. Um, are you using it today? Like you don't have, if you're making decisions like this right now, you don't have capacity to be managing extra inventory. Bare minimum. Are you using it today? Do you need it tomorrow? And if not, I would not worry about it. Again, I wholeheartedly, I would trust Fumio Sasaki on this one. The things we really need will always find their way back to us. And I know there's a lot, with these type of decisions also comes financial uncertainty and all of that. The things we need will always find their way back to us. So I let go of the fear of like, but what if I can't buy it again in this or that? We can't worry about that stuff right now, right? Again, that's anticipatory anxiety. You don't have capacity for all of that right now. So just worry about the stuff you're absolutely using right now. And I think the other stuff will take care of itself. Let's see. I'm trying to see Alice's question. Someone said I wish you'd answer Alice's question. Alice, would you post it again if I missed it? I'm sorry about that. They sometimes jump around a little on me. Um, I jump back and forth between hobbies. I end up throwing things away, and when I come back to that hobby and have to buy new things again, how can I handle it when I'm not interested right now? Yeah, I mean, I would. So our daughter Adeline is 15 and a half now. And she was our hobbyist, like different craft things and all of this. And it's been interesting to watch her process now. She buys so little. Like she will literally buy just enough for the, animal that she wants to crochet, or she buys a lot of like kits now, like, diamond dots or a painting thing, so that she doesn't have to buy a bunch of extra things and stuff. And so I think now we need to have the awareness when we take on a new activity or hobby to get the bare minimum. In the past, we'd get like all the things for the things, right? And it was fun and I get it. And, whatever, we're all learning as we go through this. But I think it's about buying just the absolute bare minimum that you need for the new activity. So there's not a lot of leftover. You can discard the extra stuff, not really worrying about it. And then I think we don't feel so bad about stuff we might have let go of in the past. But this is a constant, we're constantly learning and figuring this out. So let's not beat ourselves up over things from the past. Oh. What differences have you noticed in your followers following since you announced? I gained subscribers for a little bit and then I lost a whole lot of subscribers. I don't care, honestly. I am just here to visit with the friends that are looking for this type of information. I believe in this message so strongly about simplifying because I have absolutely experienced over the last couple of years that when you are going through hard life things, the last thing you need is a cluttered house and to be trying to manage a bunch of stuff, right? And there's so many different challenges that we all face, and I believe they're all a little bit easier to navigate when we don't have so much stuff. I mean, the hardest thing was, I just didn't used to get a lot of negative comments in the past, and so I was so fortunate that way. And so, it's hard when you're seeing critical things about your life and you're just like, you don't know the whole story, or you don't, like I can't put everything out there. And I'm not even trying to say because it was so horrible. I'm not in any way trying to apply that. Right. But just like, you just can't, there's like no way possible to catch you up on 16 years in these times that we have together. And so what I appreciate, 99% of of my friends here, they're like, "We get that. We give you the benefit of the doubt." And honestly, like, sucks that that's happened, but like we value you for how you talk about minimalism and simple living and decluttering, right? And so it's the majority, but isn't it just we all know this, right? There's those little digging comments that get in and you're like, it's so unfair. And why, how could you say that? And so it kind of drug me down for a little bit, honestly, where I'm just like, I don't even want to turn on the camera because like I'm just thinking of what are the comments going to be. I feel like I'm coming back out of that now. On my last tiny house video I did, everyone was so kind and encouraging, and I was just like felt so loved and supported, and I am, and I'm so grateful for that. So yeah, and I knew it was coming and all of that, but those darn negative comments, they just stick with you, right? So, but mostly, oh my gosh, I am overwhelmed with gratitude, and just still so many days are just like, this is what I get to do. You show up and watch me, like what on earth, how did I get here? So I'm so grateful for that. Oh, this seems like a tough one. What to do if my husband had 20 boxes of stuff kids don't want, games, books, and is still buying games never opened? I want to help. Yeah, this is where I think we start to have conversations about, managing inventory. The idea of inventory seems to resonate with a lot of men too. And, talking about how you're learning clutter equals stress. And I'm guessing you've been kind of demonstrating some of this in your main living areas or whatnot. But I think it's just patient conversations about, well, how can we limit this stuff? How can we store it? How can we organize it so it's not so visually overwhelming? Using the word organizing is usually much better than using the word decluttering. So Ashley says, I have custody of my nephew. His mom died 10 days after he was born. Oh man, his grandmother has kept a lot of her things for him, and I know he'll get it someday. Any suggestions on how to manage that? I would just make sure it is contained and curated in like some kind of like memory box or something like that. I think it just so it doesn't feel like overwhelming or too much. And so that it's something that can be revisited and visited when the time is right and he wants to, but otherwise it's not like a big burden or anything like that. If anyone else has ideas around that too, please share. Yeah, can you make a video about decluttering furniture? I would get rid of as many flat surfaces as possible. I would use the same question, am I using it today? And furniture is fun because it can make a really big impact. Most of us have way too much furniture in our homes and spaces. And when you move it out, it's just like, oh, freedom, open space. Our brain loves open space and room to just like breathe. And so furniture is fun because it can make a big impact. If you're not using it, I would put it on Marketplace for like $5 and let somebody come and pick it up and take it out of your house for sure. How do you declutter when your house is in a constant state of renovation? Ugh, yeah, it's all building materials. Yeah, that's tricky. I would say though, the same rules really apply. If you're not using it today, like what's the point of keeping it, And you said asking for your parents, but you might want to help them. Parents, I would also recommend giving them a copy of the book, The Legacy List. Creates really great conversations about how much to keep. They likely have a lot of sentimental stuff or stuff that they've inherited or has been passed on to them. So that can create just good common language and ideas and like conversation starters. So that is definitely a great resource for parents, for ourselves as we're going through sentimental stuff. Can't recommend that book enough. All right. Wow. I have talked for over an hour now, which I can do. So, but I really have enjoyed getting to spend this time with you. And if you're not using it today, permission to let it go. There's so much freedom on the other side, and I really want that for you. I love you. I hope you have a really good day, and I'll see you again soon.